Welcome to the Builders of Authority podcast, a show committed to helping you build authority for your brand. In the realm of business and personal branding, authority stands as a cornerstone. Authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time. So join us as we build something remarkable together. And now, here's your host, Adam McChesney.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Builders of Authority podcast. We're live here at Adventure Unknown in Fenton, Missouri. If you've heard about Adventure Unknown or seen me post any sort of content about Adventure Unknown and you're here locally in St. Louis, make sure to reach out to me. Let's schedule a time to have you come up here. It's an incredible place. It's where we host the podcast. It's where I've been investing so much time and energy helping myself and my business grow, but helping other people do the same thing and introducing so many people in my network to amazing people. Had somebody that I've known for a couple of years just sign up as a member yesterday. So many amazing things that are going on here at Adventure Unknown outside of the podcast. Would love to have you up here to show you around, have a conversation, maybe come to an event and really learn a little bit more about what Adventure Unknown is about. Our podcast is brought to you by Punchline Productions. So Punchline Productions is the amazing company that runs everything end to end for our podcast. I just get to show up, get to record these awesome episodes, and then do everything from there. So shout out to Punchline Productions for the incredible work that they do each and every single week. So this episode of the Builders of Authority podcast is going to be a solo episode. So I was actually supposed to have my uncle Bob, Delaney's uncle, Bob Mastis on, but he had a little bit of an injury, twisted his ankle. And so we're going to reschedule that episode. So to be fully transparent, I was not planning on doing a solo episode. So I was literally like 5 minutes before kind of shifting some things around, saying like, what could I talk about here today? Like what was on my heart? What did I believe could provide some value to the audience? And so there was two main things that I wanted to kind of dive into. I was going to be making YouTube videos and longer posts on social media about both of these things. But I figured why not just have it right now on a podcast, talk about it. It's what came up for me. And then obviously we can get it on YouTube and I can make a post about it as well. So the two things that I believe I've been kind of focusing on and or had some attention over the last month and a half for the first one, and then about 90 days on the other topic is first, the importance of mental health as an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs wear many hats, right? So for myself, it's yes, I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a friend, I'm a family member. And it can be a lot wearing all those different hats. So I want to kind of dive into how I've dealt with wearing all of the hats and how I'm trying to make sure that from a mental health standpoint, I keep it all together, right? Because that's one of the hardest dichotomies, I think, as entrepreneurs that ultimately we have. And then the second thing, which is kind of an interesting segue of how personal branding helps you become the authority, I want to dive in a little bit to how personal branding allows you to hire amazing people. So 90 days ago, we had 7 team members. At the end of this month, so I'm recording this on June 5th, at the end of this month, we should be around 20 or 21 team members. So some massive growth in just 90 days. And all but one of those employees was somebody that we actively recruited. So, which I mean by that is, and maybe I said that wrong, but basically one employee that we've hired was somebody that we found on LinkedIn that knew some of the people that we knew, right, and had been at an agency here in the United States. And he saw he was looking for a job. So we reached out to him and said, hey, why don't you come interview for us? All of the other ones were people that when we posted jobs had literally said, hey, I want to come work for Adam. I want to come work for Builders of Authority. And that would not be possible without a personal brand. So we're going to dive in a little bit to that here today. But kind of going back to the top, right? So mental health regardless if you're an entrepreneur or not, is of the utmost importance. And over the last couple of years, with suicide rates being high and just with so much stuff going on in the world, right? It's been more and more of a topic. So just coming off of May, which was Mental Health Awareness Month, I wanted to dive in and specifically talk about it for the entrepreneur. So my goal of talking about this is help people understand kind of some of the stuff I've gone through, and how I've navigated those things, but to really bring awareness to the individual, again, regardless if you're an entrepreneur or not. But hopefully there's something that I share with you here today where you're like, wow, I've experienced that too, or Adam goes through these things, and or something that just helps you get through the next day, the next decision, the next obstacle that you're currently dealing with. So I never really truly understood what mental health was until I ran a business. Reason being is that for the most part, I had, looking back on it, I thought I was stressed out. I thought I had anxiety. I thought I had all of those things when I was working for somebody else. And of course, I probably did. But the level at which those things show up for me now running a business is just that much higher. So the awareness of it over the last couple of years has definitely scaled up for me. In addition to that, obviously getting married and having my first kid and having multiple businesses and doing all of those different things, it raises the level of the stress and the anxiety. So I've talked about some of this on social media. I've shared a little bit about this on podcasts and things like that. But over the last 12 to 24 months, I've struggled a lot in trying to navigate how to be the husband and the father and the entrepreneur and everything else, friend and family outside of that, which has challenged my mental health. And I would be lying if I tried to say like everything was perfect and or I've navigated every situation to the way of the standard of which I would have liked. And unfortunately, that's just not true. And so with that, right, going back to, let's just call it, 24 months ago. 24 months ago, I took my franchise that I had, which is a very profitable franchise of a digital marketing agency. I took that with a cash injection and I became a partner of said company, agency, whatever you want to call it. And ultimately, my thought process at that time was, I'm going to be a dad for the first time in September or October of 2023. And I didn't have the belief in myself that I could be the sole owner, CEO, entrepreneur, whatever it is that you want to call it, of an agency at that point. So we had hit $200,000 months. We had about $175,000 in recurring revenue. I had 10 full-time team members. On the outside looking in, it seemed like everything was going great. And in reality, on paper, a lot of it was. But the stress and the anxiety of doing this on my own overweighed anything that I thought would have been possible if we did it in a group setting. So became a partner, turned over my agency, rolled my team in, cash injection of 6 figures, and it ended up not working out. Right. So Murphy was born in September of 2023. And I took some time off. I came back and really tried to find a way to make it work because I'm like, hey, I just basically depleted my business bank account. I then, was a partner of this business. I had my personal brand on the line. I had a lot of eggs in those baskets. And then in January and February of 2024, just said, hey, like, this is not what it was supposed to be. This is not what I thought it was going to be. I need to course correct, right? So I need to get out. Not going to go into all the details because it's boring and it's also just not necessary. But long story short, had to navigate that exit process for essentially all of 2024. Also wasn't able to do digital marketing as a service, as an agency for about 6 or 7 months. So that's why we really dove into the Builders of Authority Mastermind, and then we relaunched the agency as of October of 2024 last year. in that process, right, going to quote unquote battle to get out of a business that you helped build, own, you turned over your baby, you injected cash, you did all of those things. You lived and breathed it for a very long time. Having business partners that you thought were ultimately, different, and I'm sure they thought I was different. Like there's my side of the story, there's their side of the story, and then there's the truth somewhere in the middle, right? But from there, right, you do business and you do life with people that ultimately, however it ends up shaking out, you feel betrayed, right? And so you're sitting here thinking that like you were investing in this business, or you were in this business, or you were doing life and business with these people that ultimately weren't who you thought that they were. So you put these people on a massive pedestal, and then reality shakes out and you're like, wow, this is tough, because then you have to navigate the other side of it. And so all of last year, I'm sitting here, I'm saying like, am I the problem? I was also going through some personal stuff with family. I'm like, am I the problem? These things keep recurring in my life. And how do I move forward? Right. And so working with coaches and working with consultants and going to therapy and just having conversations about the tough things that I've gone through has been a nice outlet for me to, of course, find a path forward. Because this time last year, as I was in the thick of all those things, right, the business account that I had basically been depleted. I was making very little money. When the situation that the exit process started, I was essentially like dumped off on the side of the road, dropped from medical benefits, dropped from the pay, had $10,000 to $15,000 worth of additional expenses that I basically had to incur on my own. So that account started to get depleted. So I started to freak out and say, you know what, like maybe I just need to go get a job. And there was multiple opportunities that came up, and there was multiple people that wanted me to partner in businesses and do all those different things. But I couldn't fathom going to work for somebody else. And I also couldn't fathom getting into another partnership coming off of a situation that couldn't have gone any crazier, right? And so you start to get down on yourself. You start to question why you do what you do. You start to really overthink everything. And part of that is necessary, right? So I had to go back to the core of like, who am I? What do I want? And why do I do what I do? And when I was trying to go through and figure out like the path forward and consulting with a lot of people and having those tough conversations, it was like, if my belief of all of those things is bigger than the fear that I have, or the struggle and the stress and the anxiety that I have of this like imposter syndrome, right? Because one of my biggest fears was that I would try to go start this agency again and it would fall flat on its face. Because one of the things I kept hearing from the crowd over there was like, you are who you are because of us. You can't go do this on your own. You blah, 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 blah. And so I started to believe the stories that people were telling me directly and indirectly. And I started to overthink every situation. And that's just not a healthy place to be. So I was in my head a lot last year and trying to find ways to express my feelings and ultimately, move forward and get beyond that obstacle was what I spent most all of last year doing. And then, right, we get on the other side and we start growing the business. And I just put my head down. I said, hey, if we're going to go do this thing, like I need to be super focused for 90 days. I need to invest in growing the business and hiring the team and doing all this stuff. And that's what we did. And that's where we really started to gain some momentum and say, hey, we can do this again. And so that was the first 90 days. And then the last 6 months have really been processes and systems, hiring the right people, doing a lot of the tough things that most businesses fail to ever do or do way too late. We were trying to get out ahead of the curve as much as possible. But in all of that, you start to stack on the additional things, right? So I was dealing with all of that stuff last year, And I was basically running a mastermind, doing some consulting, speaking at events. Like, looking back on it, I had a lot of time on my hands. Now I was creating a lot of content. I was doing a lot of things for free. And I believe I was putting a lot of goodwill out there to eventually be able to go do what we've done since relaunching the agency. So I'm not saying I didn't do anything. What I'm saying is my calendar now is a lot more sophisticated, stressful, and anxious, or anxiety ridden. And we're working on that, right? But at that time, I, was doing my best to be the husband and the father that I wanted to be, in addition to the entrepreneur and the family and family member and the friend, right? But then as the business started to grow, the business required more of me and has required more of me than what I was doing last year. And rightfully so. Like, we'll have over 20 employees at the end of this month versus I had one this time last year. And we just weren't doing a whole lot, right? So you have to shift your focus and try to find that work-life harmony that fits into who you want to be in every area of your life. And in some seasons, it will require more of you over here than over here. But that's where I felt lost and was having this mental struggle and battle of saying, I feel like in two areas I'm doing really good, not to mention, like, I'm talking about roles we're playing, not just health and fitness and sleep and all of these other things that occur that you have to obviously do in order to live, right? But it was causing a lot of like internal turmoil and chaos for me because I felt like I was letting so many people down. And I'll kind of land the plane here before we shift into the next topic is that from a mental health standpoint, right, as an entrepreneur specifically, you have to be willing to have the tough conversations with yourself and with other trusted advisors, whether that's a therapist, your spouse, a family member, a friend, a mentor, a consultant, whatever it might be, a coach. You have to be willing to have those conversations with yourself and with other people, and to be super, super vulnerable and honest and transparent. If you go and you start to have these conversations, but you only share 50% of the truth or the story, or 90%, nobody can help you, whether it's about mental health or it's about running a business. And so my invitation to you would be to whatever you're going through, whatever you're struggling. I don't know your situation, but all I can say is every time I've had a conversation with somebody about what I've gone through, one, they're like, wow, like, there's a lot that's happened personally and professionally for me. And my story is unique. And the way in which it happened is unique. But there's someone out there, multiple people out there, who can either guide you through this situation, or they've gone through one of the 7 things. And they may know somebody else that's gone through some of these other things as well. So be willing to have the conversation, be willing to be vulnerable, be willing to be honest and transparent so that you can get the help that you ultimately need and get through it on the other side. All right, so transitioning over to personal branding, allowing you to hire amazing people for your company. So this is something, and a lot of times I talk about personal branding helps you become the authority in your industry. By being the authority in your industry, you get clients, right? People think of you first or foremost when somebody asks who is the guy or gal or who is the company that does X, Y, and Z. So it generates leads for you. You then get asked to speak at events, go on podcasts, maybe you wrote a book, you do YouTube videos. You get to create a lot of content if you want to. And it feels good, right? And it makes you money. Like, personal branding will 100% make you money. Had a message come in yesterday, probably one of the biggest opportunities that I've ever had to get equity in a private equity roll up and play, to be the marketing piece inside of that infrastructure. Again, one of the biggest opportunities that has presented itself that only came from my personal brand. and they got a taste of what we do inside the marketing agency, and they want more of it, and they want us to have some skin in the game, which is awesome. Those things are all not possible without personal branding. You can have the greatest product, the greatest service, the greatest whatever, but if people only know the business and you don't leverage your name and your personal brand to help grow that business or multiple other businesses, you're not reaching your fullest potential, right? So with that being said, one of the things that I think I have underrated over the last couple of years when it comes to personal branding is it allows for you to hire amazing people. So my last agency, when I was trying to hire employees, what I was doing is I was always going on LinkedIn and spending hours and hours and hours of time sending out connection requests, sending out messages, then having interviews and going back and forth and trying to find the right people. And I did have some amazing people. Some of the best employees I've ever had, right, were in my last agency. But I was going and hunting like I was hunting a new deal or trying to cold call, and that's just not me. Now, it worked out, right? But at the end of the day, it's very exhausting, it's very expensive, and it's very time-consuming. And as I mentioned earlier, as we'll get to over 20 employees likely by the end of the month, when we went from 7 to 17 right now over the last 90 days, there's only one employee that I and my team sought out on LinkedIn because he said he was looking for a job or whatever. Every other employee, when we posted, hey, we have this opening, they were actively reaching out. And I would say as far as applicants over the last month, we've probably had close to 15 or 20 for open roles. And one of the coolest things that we're getting right now is people are just like, hey, I want to throw my application in. I didn't see a role maybe that I would fit in or that I would want to do, but I want you to know that I'm coming to you interested in working at Builders of Authority. And in every single conversation, so Rosanna, who's our chief of staff, she has like monthly sync ups with our team now, which is incredible. So it's like health checks of the position and the person and the role and what else is needed and providing feedback and what's going well in areas of opportunity, like all of that stuff. And all of the new employees, she's asking like, hey, was this exactly kind of what you thought it was going to be? And are you excited? And are you happy you made this decision? And in the interview process, all the way through like the first 30 days, and even people that have been with us obviously much longer, they always relate back to, hey, I have always wanted to work in a company that Adam ran. And once I started to see more and more people that they knew come and work for us at Builders of Authority, they were like, okay, I want to be a part of that. If so-and-so is there, right, then I trust being there, but I always wanted to work for Adam too. So, of course, your personal brand alone doesn't create company culture and doesn't keep people happy and doesn't provide processes and systems and SOPs and training guides and all of that stuff. You have to have that on the back end inside of your company. But your personal brand, along with strong people inside of your company and amazing culture, will help build your next set of people that are interested in working for you. So if you're not posting on social media consistently, you need to do so. It will unlock a bunch of doors. But if you're not posting on social media about your amazing team members, I try to at least once a week, if not every other week, if not more in some instances, talk about my team. I highlight them every single time. Yesterday, one of our newer clients sent me this awesome text message that was like, hey, I had such a great experience. I've had such a great experience working with Laura since she came on board. She's amazing, right? So positive, full of energy, etc. And we've had it for multiple Google reviews that came in where team members of mine are mentioned in those where it used to just be all about me, right? And so if you're not highlighting your team members and doing it and from your personal brand, so then that way they can wake up or look in the afternoon or see it at night where you're highlighting them and talking about them and being genuine and being real and showing appreciation, If you're not doing those things, that is a massive opportunity, because I believe that people, of course, they're needing to work for stability of money and job security and the benefits and all of those things. But so many people in so many of these interviews that we're having right now, the things that are coming up, I want to work somewhere where I can trust the person running the company, and I can trust the employees, and I can trust who I'm working with, and I can trust the clients. Our core value is on the acronym of trust. Take action, results matter, utilize resources, set expectations, and transform lives. They're looking for loyalty. So many people give loyalty, but they don't get it in return, right? And so listen during interviews and listen to the team members that you have of why they're still there and what makes them happy and what lights them up. Not about the money or the benefits, but about actually doing their day-to-day. So often we're focused on the money or the benefits or what more do I need to provide, when sometimes it's not an actual thing. It's a feeling or experience that people are looking for, that they want more than anything else. And so if you're not using your personal brand to promote your company, highlight your team, talk about your employees, that's a massive opportunity, because as I've tried to remove myself from the business as much as I possibly can, if I had only talked about me running Builders of Authority and me and me and me and me and not my team, when people would sign up with us, they would be like, well, where's Adam? Because I've never seen these other people. So it does help build the business, and build the business without you there to buy back more time when you're posting from your personal brand. And in the process, you'll get some amazing people wanting to work for you. That's all I have today. Again, I was trying to find something that was on my heart and kind of two-pronged focus, a little bit just about where I've been and the importance of mental health, coming off Mental Health Awareness Month in May, and then talking a little bit about tactic and strategy here in this solo episode. Again, just kind of firing off what was on my brain and firing on all cylinders of, guest cancels 5 to 10 minutes before an episode. How do you show up, right? And it's just a good lesson about being able to pivot and shift and still show up and do the work even when things change and something unexpected happens. So thank you so much for watching this episode. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you're listening on podcast stuff, make sure to subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. And if you're watching, leave a comment, like the video, subscribe to our channel. We love having people reach out to us, new listeners, etc. If you're in St. Louis, again, reach out to me. Would love to have you on the podcast. Only doing in-person podcasts moving forward here in St. Louis, but also love to come show you everything we have going on here at Adventure Unknown. It's an incredible place. It's where I spend a lot of time up here. I've met some amazing people, and looking forward to the growth of this club as well. So thank you so much for watching or listening to today's episode. And remember, authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time. We'll see you next week.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. We sure do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get notifications as new episodes become available. If you feel so inclined, please leave us a review. We sure do appreciate it. Until next time, friends.